So, welcome. My name is Jules Hobbs, and I am a life coach. I regularly work for the Community Online Academy and have been teaching a program called Achieve Your Dreams. Now, Dom, who is going to speak today, is my personal coach. He has helped me to lose around 12 to 14 pounds of weight, just about 5 kilograms, depending on when we start that benchmark. And one of the things that we were discussing recently is how my energy has improved and how I've been able to be more productive towards my other goals, even though I am dedicating a lot more time to my fitness, to my well-being, being a little bit more self-hyping-ish, as it were, and focusing on my self-care. And that led to the inspiration for this session today. So the amazing Dom Lockyer, who is a personal trainer, he is a coach, he's got nutrition qualification. Basically, he is an absolute legend in my eyes. Like, he changes lives, is here to talk to you about how to simplify your goals with fitness. So, without further ado, I'm going to remove the spotlight on myself and I'm going to add it to the amazing Dom Lockyer. Welcome. How are you?
Very good. Thank you. How are you?
Yeah, good. Thank you so much for being here. So, I
It's
just
an
want to make
absolute pleasure.
sure. Good, I'm
Thanks
glad.
thank you for everyone for joining in.
It's so nice to have such a lovely group here. So I'm going to hand the floor over to you, Dom. Thank you for being here. Let's all stay on mute throughout this session. You can use the chat box to interact. And if you're watching back from home, I'll make sure that I'll pop Dom's contact details on the YouTube video so that you can reach out to him if you have any questions.
Is that it? We're going. I'm going to assume that is a yes. We've not got your visuals. Oh, there you are. Right. Okay. Cool. Hello, everyone. So my name is Dom, and as you can see, hopefully on your screen, we are going to be talking about how to simplify your goals with fitness. So what does that mean? Well, we're looking at the kind of the parallels between fitness goals and life goals, whether they be relationship goals, business goals, personal goals. There's definitely a lot of things that sort of mirror each other in fitness and in life and in business. So we're going to talk about those things, and then how the discipline and strategies used in fitness can simplify and accelerate success in life, business, and personal growth, along with the long-term benefits of a balanced and healthy lifestyle, which I'm sure you're all pretty much well aware of already. And then we're going to finish off with a little bit of fun at the end, just some myth busting, which will hopefully help you achieve simplified success with your fitness and therefore success with your life goals and business goals. So a bit of just some ground rules initially, or housekeeping. So welcome, please get comfortable and enjoy snacks and drinks as you please. Please stay on mute throughout the session. You'll be able to unmute yourself once the recording has stopped for a Q&A. Feel free to use the chat box as much as you like, and feel free to put your camera on if you feel comfortable to do so. And the slide deck and recording will be shared after the session. So this is going to come across as a little self-indulgent, this bit, but there is a reason for it. So we're just going to get right into it. So I want to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a self-employed nutritionist and physique coach. I was born in a little place called Essex in the UK, which some of you may have heard of thanks to a TV show. I then moved to the Isle of Man as a child, which some of you probably haven't heard of. And then I studied at university in Newcastle, where I studied a fine art degree, of all things. I then moved back to the Isle of Man to work in finance, which is one thing that the Isle of Man is known for. And now I've recently moved from the Isle of Man to Manchester to sort of pursue my dreams, really, as a natural bodybuilder, which we'll talk about in a moment. So when I was a kid, I wasn't particularly competitive, and I didn't really try in the classroom. I was quite lucky. I kind of just got through, just using, I guess, common sense. I don't know how I managed it, but yeah, I didn't really care for much when I was a child. I wasn't passionate about anything in particular. However, I have always loved video games and most forms of physical activity, provided they can be kind of gamified like video games. So I like playing football. I like bodybuilding. I like going to the gym. As you progress, you increase your weights and your reps. It's almost like playing a video game. I don't particularly love, going for runs in the rain or riding my bike to the gym, which is something I do sort of out of choice because I know it's good for me, but I don't enjoy it at all. Um, Something a bit more personal. I suffer with depression and health anxiety, but I am super lucky in that I've got a very good sort of support system for that. I've got an amazing girlfriend who is trained to be a counselor, and so she's very helpful. She can listen very well, but she can also understand things and explain and stuff like that. And I also have health anxiety, which relates a lot to this topic. But yeah, we'll kind of we won't go into too much detail there because otherwise we could be talking about it for a while. But yeah, so I've spent 7 years working on gym floors as a personal trainer, working with everyone from pensioners to child athletes to just sort of office workers, men, women, overweight people, underweight people a real sort of spectrum of people I've worked with on the gym floor, which has been amazing, given me so much experience and understanding of how people think and how they act and what they want and how to help them get to their goals, right? Whether that be physical goals or business or relationship goals or life goals. Um, so I am a Mac Nutrition University qualified nutritionist, which is something that's very important to me. It's arguably the best nutrition course in the world. I would say that in a way. It's an amazing course, and yeah, I'm certified in that, so I'm very proud of that, and I'll shout that across the rooftops. But the whole point of the Mac Nutrition course is it's very much evidence based. So everything we preach is it's just factual. It's based on science, or at least science at the time of talking about it. So at the time of this recording, everything I say in this presentation should be accurate and true. Although I must admit, I've been a bit naughty as an evidence-based practitioner, and I've not left all the references for every thing that I'm going to talk about. But if you'd like those, please feel free to get in touch with me after this, and I can send you particular references for particular evidence and studies and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll get right into it. So here are some previous transformations of people that I've worked with. Some of these even include myself. You'll see lots of different shapes, lots of different people. Um, Everyone here with different goals. It might be fat loss, it might be muscle gain, it might have been rehabilitating an injury, something like that. But you can see a real variety of people and loads of different stories, right? And um different sort of amounts of time work. Some of these people I was working with for about 6 years, some of them maybe 6 months. And many different goals again, like it could be a holiday, it could be a photo shoot, it could be a wedding, or even you can see a couple of bodybuilding shows in there. So lots going on there. So the importance of goal setting both in fitness and outside of fitness. I think this is probably going to be a bit like preaching to the choir here, but you know, goals make a huge difference. If we don't have goals, stuff doesn't get done, unfortunately. And again, that could be in business, it could be in fitness, it could be with relationships. It could be quite corny to think about that setting yourself like a relationship goal, but I think you have to know where you want to go with these things. And so what does help is setting clear and achievable goals. Very obvious goals that are usually timed as well, so we know when we want to achieve them by. And then again, various types of goals. So business, uh, careers, relationship goals, blah blah blah, all these different things. That, like I say, you're all very sort of goal-minded people, I'm sure. So you understand the importance of setting goals, and then the importance of doing that in fitness as well. Because otherwise, again, just like outside of fitness, we won't achieve anything if we don't set ourselves some goals. So how are fitness goals and these other goals linked? So physical health and overall well-being. This is two things that we sort of, you know, we get better physical health and we get better overall well-being by sort of paying attention to our health by exercising, by eating well, by staying at like a healthy body fat percentage. And then these things then sort of affect the way we work and our relationships. They affect our stress levels, They affect our energy, our mood, our productivity. And then there's a real crossover in that sort of discipline and routine aspect that you get from training, from exercising, and from, eating healthily. Um, I see a lot with my clients, the moment they start sort of structuring their day and their week so that they can better move towards their fitness goals, they start doing the same thing for all these other things. And then they start to see improvements in like work productivity, again, improvements with their relationships. They start being more honest with other people and saying, well, actually, I don't want to do this or I want to do that, or can we go do some exercise instead of going out drinking? Um, and then suddenly you get people reciprocate with that, or even maybe people say, well, actually, that's not for me. And then you've realized, well, perhaps that person isn't like right for me at this moment. And so again, fitness can really bleed into the rest of our life, hopefully in a positive way, and really sort of benefit us in those other areas. So here is a study that will be referenced, and it's all about workplace productivity, and it was a systematic review. So actually 39 studies in total. And you can have a little read about what happened there. But effectively, the objective was to investigate the impact of workplace nutrition and physical activity interventions on employees' productivity, work performance, workability. So there's 39 randomized control trials and non-randomized control studies. So what did they do? Well, they did quite a few different things in all these studies. Some of them included structured exercise programs. So scheduled sessions like group fitness classes, yoga, stretching, stuff like that. Other ones included walking meetings. So instead of going for a meeting in an office and sitting down, they were encouraged to go for walks, which I think is a beautiful idea. Obviously, could be quite weather dependent, that one. But yeah, another one was active breaks. So there were short, frequent breaks taken for stretching or light exercise. That's one that I can really get behind. I mentioned earlier on this call that I'm working on a standing desk here, but the beauty of my desk is it's adjustable, so it goes up and down. And so I find that if I adjust it sort of every hour, I get that blood moving again. I get more blood to my brain. My productivity goes up. And so that's not just like a benefit of actual exercise. That's literally just a benefit of moving on my productivity. So another thing they did was on-site fitness facilities. So they had access to on-site gyms or fitness centers, which, a lot of people aren't going to have access to that at work. So you know, I mean, they were pretty lucky there. And then there was incentive programs, rewards or recognition for participating in physical activity programs. This is always good, sort of the carrot approach. So actually rewarding people for doing these physical tasks. Hopefully not with chocolate, although in some cases you could do that if you wanted to. Then there was dynamic workstation. So yeah, there you go, standing desks, treadmill desks, bike desks, which could be seen as a little bit extreme, but the great thing about all these things was if we look at the results, there were significant improvements in work performance, productivity, and workability. There's also reductions in absenteeism and positive impacts on employees' health, including reduced sedentary behavior. So I think that sounds like a pretty big win. Now, how do we apply that to the real world, where most people don't have gyms at work? Some people can access standing desks, but a lot of these things aren't going to be very doable. Well, I think it's just a case of doing a little bit more than what you're currently doing, right? So if you can walk about a little bit more at work, if you can get up and stretch from your desk, even if it's just going and getting a glass of water, if you can walk on your lunch break, or if you can just go to the gym outside of your work hours, it's all going to really help, increase your fitness, which then should therefore increase your workplace productivity. So, long-term benefits of fitness, and how does this affect work as well? So we all know about the health benefits of fitness. I thought about listing the health benefits and getting a study up and stuff like that, but I think, come on, I think we're all aware that exercise is brilliant, right? It's really good for you. Reduces your risk of all kinds of cardiovascular disease, reduces your risk of cancer, reduces your risk of diabetes. It lifts mood. It reduces your risk of getting osteoporosis, sarcopenia, all these different things as we age. Speaking of longevity, we want to be able to live not only a longer life, but also like have a better quality of life as we age, right? We want to be able to move, we want to be able to take part in things with our children, or our grandchildren, and then also just like the overall happiness that that brings to us. Um, and just like, yeah, again, like that, the mood elevation of not only exercising, but of being a fitter person, you're probably going to feel better, right? So there was a study which I've dubbed the happiness study. Is the relationships between physical activity and life satisfaction and happiness among young, middle-aged, and older adults. This was in Taiwan in 2020, and the objective of the study was they were aiming to investigate the relationships between physical activity, life satisfaction, and happiness across different age groups. So the study involved 2,345 healthy adults who were divided into three age groups: young, middle-aged, and older adults. Physical activity levels were categorized as high, moderate, and low measurements. The study measured life satisfaction and happiness while controlling for demographic characteristics. Participants' physical activity levels were assessed, and their life satisfaction and happiness were evaluated. So again, the results: participants with high and moderate physical activity levels had significantly higher life satisfaction and happiness compared to those with low activity levels. This positive relationship was consistent across all age groups. Life satisfaction and happiness increased with age, showing a positive curvilinear relationship. And I'm sure you can imagine, if you are happier, you are probably going to be more productive. You're probably going to, work towards those goals that you have. You're probably going to be a better partner to your partner. So, yeah, I think the correlation is quite clear. Not only should we exercise because it's good for us, but it feels good and it makes us happy, right? Speaking of happiness, so this is me on the left. This is a few years ago now. And then me again on the right, 6 months later, after the picture on the left. Firstly, I apologize that I've put this in front of you. But yeah, so on the left there, I'm about 60 pounds heavier than I am on the right. And that's 6 months difference. So yeah, quite a lot of weight lost. But more importantly than the look, or the shocking difference in the look, was how I felt at the time on the left. Admittedly, I had kind of got to that point intentionally. I was trying to gain muscle, so I was eating in a calorie surplus. However, I had very little idea about nutrition, and I was basically just eating everything in sight, which isn't the best idea. And I was gaining weight too quickly, and so I was just gaining lots of body fat. But it got to the point where I saw photos of myself, with friends and family, and I wasn't pleased with what I saw, and that affected my confidence. But not only that, and perhaps more importantly, I just didn't feel good. Right, I had really low energy. I was visiting the toilet like 3 or 4 times a day. It wasn't pretty. I didn't, I didn't really want to exercise. It was a struggle to go to the gym. I wasn't sleeping well at all. I actually got tested for sleep apnea at the time. And so, if I had just continued to live like that for much longer, who knows what kind of long-term damage it could have done. So basically, decided to make a change. How did I do it? Well, it was very simple. I started going for walks on my lunch break. 'Cause at this point, I was working in an office. Sorry, I should have probably given you that information earlier. I started going for walks on my lunch break, and I just started tracking my calories. And I was eating about 2,400 calories. And that's all I did for 6 months. And I didn't reduce the calories further. I didn't even increase the activity further. I just went for walks on my lunch break, and I ate 2,400 calories. And, had I kept going, I might have had to reduce those calories further or increase my expenditure. But the point of this is to show you how simple it was, right? I had a plan, I had a goal. My goal was to do a photo shoot, and it was booked in and it was timed. So I had 6 months to lose this certain amount of weight. I had aimed for about 3 stone, which is what I pretty much lost. Um, and yeah, so the goal was simple, it was fairly achievable, and the way to get there was just like do everything else that I do the same, except track my food and do a little bit more physical activity in the way of walking. So speaking of goals, I'm sure you're well aware of this term, SMART goals. And it's a big thing we use in fitness. I say we use it as part of the qualification. Me personally, I use it like not as specifically. I don't write down SMART and then go from there. We just look at making something specific. So it's obviously like something that you want, something that relates to your life. If you're a badminton player, I'm probably not going to say, "Oh, let's get you ready for a bodybuilding show." It's like, what do you actually want to achieve? Maybe you want to be, you want a better serve in badminton or something like that. Something that's fairly measurable. So it has to be specific to you, measurable again. So in fitness, it could be to lose a certain amount of body weight. Not my favorite goal, to be honest, like to have a number in mind. But it could also be to get to a certain dress size, or it could even be a strength-based goal. So it could be like to get a new 1 rep max on the bench press or something like that. Then, of course, it has to be achievable. And unfortunately, if you do these things on your own, you might not know what is achievable. So that's where you should really speak to someone who knows what they're talking about, depending on what your goal, what realm it is in. If it's a business related goal, you should go talk to someone who knows about business. But in fitness, I would probably ask a personal trainer, do you think this is achievable? And then is it relevant? And again, is it timed? Because we know if we don't have a time, we're probably not going to do it, right? That's why weddings are great, aren't they, Jules? Anyway, right, we'll move on to the next one. So, creating a plan. So again, super important for business, for life, for relationships, and for fitness. We need a plan, right? We need some sort of structure to follow, but it doesn't have to be complicated. If we go back to how I lost that weight, it was literally go for a walk on your lunch break and track your calories. That was all it was. The types of food weren't important. It was just the amount of food. There was no ridiculous hit workouts or loads of cardio, or I didn't have to go on a stairmaster or a bicycle or whatever. It was just go for a walk on your lunch break. So again, keep it simple. We're just looking for some sort of, with fitness, we're looking for balanced nutrition, some sort of regular exercise. Doesn't really matter what it is. And adequate rest as well. That's something that's really important, right? So how much sleep you're getting, how much you're training, how many rest days are you going to take? If you are doing something more physically demanding than going for a walk, you're probably going to want to account for some rest days, right? Because if you just go all out and go smash it 7 days a week, with your fitness, you're probably actually going to find that you will worsen your life outside of fitness because you'll be knackered, right? You're putting all your eggs into one basket. So the idea is to find that balance to make sure we're not doing too much too soon. And again, going back to the SMART goal, making sure it's achievable. So yeah, you definitely need rest, and you definitely need to take care of your sleep as well. Because if sleep's out of whack, then you'll find that your hunger hormones are out of whack, and suddenly you're going to be super hungry. You have no energy. You're going to feel like crap, and you're going to reach for the chocolate or whatever it is that you're trying to eat less of. So yeah, sleep, rest, super important, along with balanced nutrition and regular exercise. So that's we look to develop healthy habits, and I put healthy in inverted commas here because for certain people, certain things might not be healthy, right? So meal planning um, could be really healthy for some, but with someone who's like had a history of like orthorexia or something like that, then meal planning may not be the best thing for that. But generally, these are considered healthy habits, and these are the things we want to sort of introduce. And again, it's the same with business, right? You want to create these positive habits, whether it's like getting up at a certain time, starting work at a certain time, ticking off certain boxes each day. It's the same with fitness. So meal planning, staying hydrated, super important. Walking when you have a choice, instead of like instead of taking the lift or the elevator, take the stairs, this kind of thing, parking further away from your workplace. If you have a choice to walk, or you should always walk, right? Eating more vegetables and lean proteins. So that's a nice thing to think about, actually eating more food instead of eating less food. Taking part in enjoyable physical activity regularly. Again, enjoyable being the key word there, right? So you don't have to do any physical activity that you don't enjoy. Drinking and smoking less. I'm not saying you should just quit these things. You know, it's difficult to quit these things, and that's not a realistic life to lead, is it necessarily? But you can definitely try and do less of them. And funnily enough, working less as well could be a healthy habit. Again, to go back to Jules, she loves to work a lot and sometimes too much. And so it's been about finding that balance of like, well, you know, you've got a job, you're self-employed, you've got all these things to do, you've also got a relationship to take care of, you've got family, stuff like that. We're trying to balance all these plates. And sometimes that actually might mean working less, or even in other people's cases, it could be doing less exercise. You know, there was a point when I was gymming like 7 days a week, 2 hours a day each week, and that was just ridiculous. And actually, I split up with my girlfriend about three times because of that. So, you know, you get the point. But yeah, sleeping more is a big one as well. So this is a big one. Take inspiration, but don't compare yourself to others. So constantly comparing ourselves to others can steal our joy and satisfaction. It leads to unrealistic expectations and diminishes our achievements, which will in turn lead to worse productivity. Again, I talk about productivity again, like I'm talking about business and stuff like that, but it just leads to worse everything, right? Worse outcomes. If you compare your relationship to someone else's relationship, that's going to lead to a bad outcome. You know, you have your relationship, you are a specific individual, only you know your story effectively. And you've had your upbringing, you've had your life. So the same applies to fitness. You know, you might have a job that's a super serious job. You might have kids. You might only have half an hour to work out each day, and you're sat on Instagram looking at a teenager who's a model who works for Nike or Gymshark, and they take steroids, and their job is to literally just go to the gym and post photos of themselves, and you're comparing yourself to that person. Um, and funny, I say that actually because this is at that bottom bit here. It says this is why I was so self-indulgent at the start. Context is key. So stop comparing yourself to others. Don't compare yourself to me. This is my job, right? This is what I'm obsessed with. I absolutely love the gym and fitness and building muscle and learning about like physiotherapy and rehabilitation. I love learning about nutrition. This is what I do all day. This is what I have done all day for the last like 12 years, effectively. Like it's been my obsession. Not only that, I'm a man, I'm 6'2". So these are certain things that give me an advantage in such a sense. Um, you know, I was super lucky to land on my feet as a personal trainer, working at a gym, which was you know, brilliant gym, but the guys that worked there, that owned it, they just gave me such a brilliant opportunity. I was so lucky, and I was dealt a very, very good card. Um, and so to compare yourself to me, either from like a business aspect, you may be doing better than me, you may be doing worse than me, physically the same, right? There's just no point, is there? We're all so different. You can only compare yourself to yourself, but that doesn't mean don't take inspiration from others, right? You know, still look at other people and say, wow, that's amazing. Good for you. I'm going to take some of what you're doing and I'm going to apply it to my life. And hopefully I'll get a similar outcome, right? So yeah, there's nothing wrong with being inspired by people, but do not compare yourself to them. So that is why I take an individualized approach with all my clients, right? Individualized meaning these people are individuals. No two people are the same. So although everyone starts with the same application form, from that point forward, each journey is completely different. And so you, in your own journey, whether that be in fitness, business, life, or even relationships, you've got to appreciate that that is your journey, right? No one is the same as you. Um, you know, I'm just, like I said previously about my girlfriend, I'm super lucky to have her. And we have a very like unique relationship where we talk about everything. And I've had friends who have come to me and said that they're like jealous that we can have these conversations. Um, and then you've just got to understand, like again, she's a counselor, right? This is her job. That's how we're able to do these things. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be able to talk about these things at all. She's kind of taught me how to do it. And so you shouldn't, again, you shouldn't compare your relationship to other people. You shouldn't compare your business to other people. Everyone is different. Everyone's on their own journey. Just focus on yourself, set those goals, and start working towards them. So now time for a little bit of fun. Hopefully you're all still awake, not too bored. And we're going to do some myth busting. So this is a quiz all about sort of nutrition and fitness. And the aim is to try and help you understand the simplicity of it. Although we'll see at the end if you think it is simple. And again, if you would like references for any of these facts, please let me know after the presentation. So first one is, are sweeteners bad for you? Have a think. Yes, they cause all sorts of health problems. No, they're completely safe. It depends on the type and the quantity. Have you decided your answer? The answer is C. It depends on the type and the quantity. And by that, I think it's a stretch. It's really between C and B, if I'm honest. So if you were to drink about 60 cans of Diet Coke a day, every day for the rest of your life, you probably wouldn't be in a great position. There's a chance that something might happen, right? Because of the sweetness. However, if you were to have a couple of cans every day, you'll be absolutely fine. Um, and one more important factor about this is, if we look at actually what are the benefits of sweeteners. So, if a sweetener helps you curb that sweet craving, then actually it potentially could be used to help you lose body weight and therefore live a longer and healthier life. So no, sweeteners aren't bad for you, but if you were to drink thousands of cans of Diet Coke, yes, they would be. But no one's going to do that. We use them in moderation, and actually they can be part of a healthy diet, and they can be very helpful with losing weight. Like I say, if you swap normal Coke for Diet Coke, and that was the only change you made, you'd probably lose some body fat. So I would say sweeteners are actually a net positive, and we should all enjoy them in moderation. Are seed oils bad for you? This is a big one at the moment, controversial, although it shouldn't be controversial, really. Again, it's kind of between C and B. It's not that they're always good. They're definitely not always good. If we were to have loads of seed oils, we'd be getting lots of fat. Lots of fat would mean lots of calories. Overconsumption of calories would mean we would gain more body fat, and then we'd be at higher risk of getting these kind of illnesses and diseases that we've spoken about. But if you have seed oils in moderation, if you have fats in moderation, you will be absolutely fine. And actually, there are some health benefits to them. And they're full of omega 6s, which is a healthy fat. However, one of the reasons people talk sort of badly about seed oils is because they're quite low in omega 3s. So if you were to have a lot of seed oils, you probably want to supplement that with omega 3s, whether that be through eating fish or just from having some fish oil tablets. But the answer is really no, seed oils aren't bad for you as long as you're not drinking gallons of rapeseed oil because that'd be full of calories. Can you burn fat from a specific area? Yes, you can target specific areas. No, you can't target fat loss in specific areas. Or C, only with the right exercise. So the answer is B. No, you can't target fat loss in specific areas. Unfortunately, that exercise you saw on YouTube with the person who was saying, oh, if I do these exercises, my bingo wings will disappear. Not a thing, unfortunately. You can't choose where your body fat stores fat. You can't choose where it loses fat. It already is decided at birth, from genetics. It does change a little bit during the menopause as well. But unfortunately, you can't target fat loss specifically. All you can do is just keep in a calorie deficit, keep losing body fat, and eventually you might lose that fat that you're wanting to lose. Or if you're really unlucky, that will be the last place it goes. Do potatoes have more calories than pasta? This is a funny question because some of you will look at that and be like, well, I know the answer and it's obvious. But some of you might not. So A, yes, B, no, C, they have the same calorie content. The answer is no. Pasta generally has more calories. Now, the reason some people think that pasta is health food and therefore has lower calories than potato, it's probably twofold. One, because we see a lot of athletes eating pasta, which because it's very high in carbohydrates, so it's great for athletes. But two, because potatoes have got a bad rap because they're usually deep fried, right? They're usually in the form of chips or fries or whatever you want to call them, and therefore they're usually high in calories. However, if you buy a potato, a normal potato, and you take it home and you stick it in your microwave or your oven, you just cook it as it is, that's going to be super low in calories and super satiating. It's actually the most satiating food there is, a boiled potato. So feel free to eat as many potatoes as you want, provided it's in your calorie limit. And I challenge anyone to eat a load of boiled potatoes with some chicken breast and a big salad and tell me that they're not full. Really good food for dieting, but also for sort of maintaining a healthy body weight, right? So eat plenty of potatoes. You should not eat after 6 p.m. Is this true? A, yes, you will gain weight if you eat after 6 p.m. B, no, the timing doesn't matter as much as total calorie intake. C, only for certain types of food. The answer is B, no, the timing doesn't matter as much as total calorie intake. Well, I guess we probably need a bit more specificity with this question. So it's kind of implying that you'll gain fat or you'll be unhealthy if you eat after 6 p.m. Meal timing does not make an ounce of difference, right? You can eat food whenever you like, no matter what the glucose goddess says or Zoe or anyone like that. You can pretty much eat when you want, when is suitable for you. What I would say is if you eat foods late enough that they affect your sleep, then if your sleep is negatively affected, the next day you may have lower energy, you may have more of the hunger hormone, which we spoke about. Because you've had a bad night's sleep, you're going to feel hungrier the next day, and therefore you'll be more likely to overeat. And so that could be a reason why someone might say you shouldn't eat in the evening, because it will affect your sleep and then you'll be hungrier the next day. But other than that, if you have to eat late at night and it doesn't affect your sleep, then please go for it. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. A, yes, it is essential for a healthy diet. B, no, all meals are equally important. C, it depends on individual needs and lifestyle. The answer is C, it depends. We're starting to see a pattern emerge here. It depends, right? But quite simply, if you enjoy breakfast, eat breakfast. If you don't enjoy it, don't eat it. Simple, right? The next one is, can you gain muscle and lose fat at the same time? Yes, but it's challenging and requires specific conditions. No, you can only do one at a time, or C, only with the right supplements. So the answer is yes, you can actually gain muscle and lose fat at the same time, but it is very challenging and or requires specific conditions. So yeah, basically those specific conditions are one of a few things. Could be one that you're a heavier individual, you've got a high body fat percentage and you're recently getting into the gym for the first time. You're going to be losing fat and building muscle at the same time. The other one is if you used to go to the gym, and you haven't been for a long time, you go back, or you go back to doing the sport that you loved when you were a kid, and you may end up gaining muscle and losing fat at the same time. But other than that, it's pretty hard to do without steroids, basically. And there's no supplement that you can buy at the shop or at the pharmacy that's going to help with gaining muscle and losing fat at the same time. The only supplements that do the job are the illegal ones, basically. So yeah, for most people, it's quite difficult to gain muscle and lose fat at the same time, but it is possible. Does coffee hydrate you? A, no, coffee dehydrates you. B, yes, coffee can contribute to your daily fluid intake. Or C, only if it's decaffeinated. Um, so the answer is yes, coffee can contribute to your daily fluid intake. So coffee does not dehydrate you. However, it is a diuretic, right? So it does make you go to the toilet, it does make you lose liquid. But most of us drink our coffees with a load of boiling water in it and a load of milk in it. Two things that are very good at hydrating you. So for the most part, if you drink, Americanos, lattes, stuff like that, you're going to be absolutely fine. However, if you were to only drink shots of espresso and no liquid with that at all, then you probably would be ended up dehydrated. But yeah, just a typical coffee is not going to dehydrate you because you have the hydrating effects of the water or the milk. Is gluten bad for you? A, yes. B, no. Only people with celiac disease or gluten sensitivity should avoid it. C, only if you're on a specific diet. So the answer is no, gluten is not bad for you unless you have celiac disease or a gluten sensitivity. Um, I think, most people don't have a gluten sensitivity, and definitely most people don't have celiac disease. So most people are going to be absolutely fine having gluten in their diet. Um, if you find that when you eat it, you feel a bit rubbish afterwards, you get a sore belly, you get very gassy, or something happens, that's not ideal with your use of the toilet, then you're probably quite sensitive to gluten. You should probably consider avoiding it. But if you don't have celiac, then for the most part, you're going to be absolutely fine to have gluten. What I would say is, though, if you've not had sourdough bread, then you should get in on that because that digests very nicely. But yeah, is gluten bad for you? The answer is no, unless you have celiac disease or gluten sensitivity. Does lifting weights make you bulky? This is a classic one, usually for the women. So, A, yes, lifting weights will make you bulky. B, no, lifting weights can help tone and build muscle without bulk. Or C, only if you lift very heavy weights. Which one do you think it is? So, the answer is B. No, lifting weights can help tone and build muscle without bulk. Honestly, if lifting weights made you bulky, I would probably wouldn't have had to spend the last 12 years just like spending, like say, 2 hours in the gym every day. Because I would have got to where I wanted to get to. I'm still a skinny runt at the moment. So I'm trying, I'm lifting a lot of weights, but I'm still not bulky. I don't know what's going on. I must be doing it wrong. But no, the point is lifting weights doesn't make you bulky. If you've seen anyone who you think is bulky because they lift weights, well, chances are they're taking some sort of steroid or enhancement. Or maybe that's their goal. Maybe they're eating loads of food and they're training really hard, and their aim is to be bulky. But for the most part, if you go to the gym and you eat a high protein diet and you do these kind of health promoting activities, you're not going to get bulky. You're just going to get toned, and you might even lose a bit of body fat, and you'll definitely have a better quality of life going forward. Like I said before, you'll be at less risk of getting all these horrible things like sarcopenia and osteoporosis. So particularly for women, as they go if they go through the menopause, these are things that are going to be really beneficial. Lifting weights, and you will definitely not end up bulky. And you might even love the way you look as well, so that'd be cool. Is eating organic food always better? A, yes, organic food is always healthier. B, no, the nutritional difference is minimal. C, only for certain types of food. The answer is B, no, the nutritional difference is minimal. For the most part, like pesticides and stuff like that, we can actually digest them pretty well. We're quite, we find that quite easy to deal with our body to sort of, you know, shoot it out the other side, as it were. So there's not a lot to worry about there. It's completely your choice if you want to buy organic food, but if you want to save some money, then you definitely don't need to for health reasons. Can you get enough protein from a plant-based diet? A, no, you need animal protein for adequate nutrition. B, yes, you can get enough protein from plant-based sources. Or C, only with protein supplements. The answer is B. Yes, you can get enough protein from plant-based sources. Even easier with these plant-based protein powders and stuff like that, which is absolutely fine. But you could also just eat loads of tofu, seitan, beans, legumes, all these great things. You just have to be a bit more mindful of it because it is harder to get protein in. Because obviously, for the most part, people who eat a diet that contains meat we get our protein from meat and dairy, right? And obviously that's not the case for vegans or plant-based diets. But yeah, you just need to be sort of mindful of it and try and aim to get that protein in. Are we okay for time, Jules? Cool. Can you lose weight without exercising? Uh, A, yes, diet alone can lead to weight loss. B, no, exercise is essential for weight loss. Or C, only with a very strict diet. So the answer is A, yes, diet alone can lead to weight loss. We definitely don't need to exercise to lose weight. What I like to say to my clients is the exercise is like the insurance policy or the icing on the cake, as it were, right? The diet is the most important thing. The exercise is just a little bit of extra to kind of make sure we're moving in the right direction. And obviously, we spoke about those other benefits of exercising. It doesn't have to all be about weight loss as well. Um, but yeah, you can definitely achieve weight loss without exercising, and it's a lot easier to eat less 500 calories of food than it is to go and burn 500 calories. So if your goal is to lose body fat or lose weight, then I would strongly suggest you focus on your diet more so than the exercise, and then the exercise, like I say, can just be the cherry on top. Do you need to eat protein immediately after a workout? A, yes, it's essential for muscle recovery. B, no, you have a larger window for protein intake. C, only if you want to build muscle quickly. So the answer is B, no, you have a larger window for protein intake. So this is an old school myth. It's all about the anabolic protein window, the idea that you leave the gym and then you've immediately got down a protein shake or eat a meal of chicken and rice or whatever it is. Um, we now know that this window for muscle protein synthesis is actually a lot larger than people thought back in the day. And as long as your total protein intake is where it needs to be, at the end of the day, that's all that matters, right? Again, kind of to go back to the meal timing thing about eating after 6 p.m., the most important thing is the calories and the macros for the whole day, not just for the window around your workout. It's funny because this is one to me that I've actually heard someone say this to me, and they said, I can't go to the gym, or I don't want to go to the gym because I won't have time to eat straight after my workout. So what's the point? And it's stuff like that where it's like you're really just missing the forest for the trees, right? Um, if you have time to work out, but you can't, you can't eat the protein at the right time, you should still go and work out, right? You should still exercise. You should still do these other little habits. Just because you can't do them perfectly or optimally doesn't mean you're not going to get the benefits from doing it. So that's something to think about. So, whilst myths can often simplify things to the point of distortion, it's important to approach each situation with nuance. If someone presents information in black and white terms, they're either not fully informed or they might be trying to sell you something, um, unless they're me, anyway. But yeah, so just be warned, basically. I initially came up with this idea of the myths about trying to simplify fitness, but a lot of the time the answer isn't simple, right? It's in the grey area, and it depends. But that doesn't mean that there isn't science that supports the answer of it depends. Um, and again, so like if someone says seed oils are the worst thing in the world, don't touch them, they're going to kill you, that's not the case. The answer is, well, it depends. It depends on total calories consumed throughout the whole day. It depends on your omega-3 and omega-6 balance. There's no necessarily like right or wrong answer. Um, so yeah, just be careful who you trust. And a pro tip is to use AI tools to fact check and validate your sources. So we're very lucky now that we live in a world where if someone says something, you can literally go on ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot and just type in, this is what this person said. What do you think? And everything it tells you will be based on evidence and fact. And so to be honest, I should be out of a job at this point, really, because of AI. But for some reason, people still hire me. So, but yeah, there's a pro tip for you. Go fact check me if you like. Go ask AI anything I've said and see what they say, and then let me know if it says I'm wrong. In which case, I need to, redact that. Also, don't forget that sometimes the simplest advice we learn in school holds true to this day. For example, regular exercise, eating fruits and vegetables, and choosing minimally processed foods are still the best ways to stay healthy, right? This is the simple stuff. If you do all that, you're probably going to be all right. You're probably going to live a long and healthy life. It doesn't really need to be more complicated than that. And again, you can apply that to, things outside of fitness, right? Business, relationships. Keep it simple, stick to a plan, use things that are evidence-based, that are based in fact, and some things based in experience. Go and ask people who know more than you about these things. and ask for advice and then fact check their advice. You can even get business plans off AI if you want. Literally, just go on there. Or you could even use AI to counsel your relationship. There you go. So this is the world we live in. So go make the most out of it. Thank you very much. Hope you guys are all awake still. And I think we've got some time for questions. If you would like to get in touch with me, on a more personal basis, and have a free 30-minute consultation to talk about your goals, then feel free to scan the QR code there. It will take you to a very quick form. Or you can email me at domlockyourcoaching@gmail.com or find me on Instagram at domlifts. So I'll just leave that up there for a sec if anyone's interested. Jules, where are you?
I'm here. Thank you so, so, so much. That was brilliant. I am sure you are going to be bombarded with a bunch of questions. So, what we're going to do is I'm going to close off the recording here. So, for anyone who is watching this back, thank you so much for just popping on, listening. Hopefully, it all makes sense. I mean, I know I've had a lot of fun in the chat box. It was quite nice being an attendee today, actually. I've really enjoyed this. So yeah, I am going to stop the recording here, and then you'll be able to unmute yourselves to shout up and ask questions and to speak to Dom. But I would, as one of Dom's clients, and I've used him twice now, and we always get the results I'm looking for, despite pivots and curveballs and all kinds of obstacles that we have to step over. So yeah, thank you, Dom. I mean, you walk the walk as well as talking the talk. You've got amazing knowledge there, and I really appreciate you. So thank you very much, and thank you for being here with us all today.
Thank you very much for having me, and thanks everyone for taking the time to listen. And yeah, hope you all enjoyed it, perhaps learned something. Yeah, thank you very much.